Everyone thinks Stoicism is about staying calm. They're wrong. Stoicism isn't peace. It isn't letting go. It isn't acceptance. It is a philosophy of war. A war against weakness, against comfort, against illusion. And Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men who ever lived, used it like a weapon. Every single day. Here is the side of Stoicism nobody talks about. The dark side. And why it's the most important one. The first dark practice. The one that changes everything. Seneca called it Premeditatio Malorum, the deliberate rehearsal of disaster. He wrote, "Rehearse them in your mind, exile, torture, war, shipwreck, not as pessimism, as armor. Here's what happens in the brain when you imagine the worst. The fear loses its power, completely. The Stoic who has already lived the disaster in their mind cannot be broken by it in reality. Fear requires surprise. Remove the surprise. Remove the fear. This is inoculation, psychological inoculation, and it works." Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in Rome, and he regularly lived like a slave. Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest diet, rough dress, and ask yourself, is this the condition I feared? He called it voluntary discomfort, deliberately removing luxury, warmth, comfort, not to punish himself, to prove to himself that he didn't need it. Here's the dark truth. Most of your fear is fear of losing what you have. Remove what you have temporarily, and the fear disappears. A man who has already faced the worst voluntarily is afraid of nothing. Every Stoic philosopher kept death close, on purpose. Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. Seneca. This wasn't morbid. It was strategic. The awareness of death eliminates every form of triviality. When you know time is finite, you stop wasting it. When you remember you will die, you stop performing for people who don't matter. Memento Mori. Remember you will die. It is the most clarifying thought a human being can have, and the Stoics thought it daily. Marcus Aurelius didn't just accept hardship, he loved it. Amor Fati, the love of fate. Not tolerance, not endurance. Love. Accept the things to which fate binds you and love them. The plague killed millions in his empire. Wars threatened its borders constantly. His own body failed him for years, and he loved it all, because every obstacle was training. Every difficulty, fuel. The Stoic doesn't survive adversity. They feed on it. Amor Fati is not resignation. It is the most aggressive form of acceptance ever conceived. Marcus Aurelius wrote the most counterintuitive sentence in all of philosophy. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Read that again, slowly. The obstacle is the path forward. The thing blocking you is the direction. The Stoics didn't look for a way around hardship. They turned directly toward it. Because the act of resistance itself, the practice of overcoming, is what builds the unbreakable mind. Every problem you avoid builds weakness. Every problem you face directly builds the fortress. The Stoics practiced something that sounds simple and completely transforms how you see your problems. The view from above. Imagine yourself from orbit, from the perspective of millennia. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How many of Fabius, Scipio, Cato, great men all, have been swallowed up by time. Every man who ever lived is now dust. Every empire has fallen. Every name is forgotten." He didn't do this to despair. He did it to see clearly which fights are worth having. and which are worth releasing completely. Your problem, seen from orbit, is not large. It never was. Epictetus was a slave, literally owned by another human being, and he said this: "No man is free who is not master of himself." The Stoics called it the inner citadel, the part of you that cannot be taken, cannot be bought, cannot be broken by anyone, under any circumstances. Your body can be imprisoned, your reputation destroyed, your wealth seized. But your response to those things, your judgments, your choices, your values, those are yours alone. That is the fortress Marcus Aurelius built inside himself, and it is available to every human being. You don't build it by reading, you build it by refusing to surrender it every single day. The Stoics didn't suppress emotions, they trained with them. When anger rose, they studied it. When grief arrived, they examined it. When fear appeared, they interrogated it. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Marcus Aurelius. The practice. The moment a strong emotion appears, pause. Name it. Ask what it is actually responding to. Is this emotion responding to a real threat, or is it responding to a story the mind invented? Here's what the Stoics discovered. Most emotions are responding to the story, not the event. The interpretation of the event. Change the interpretation. The emotion changes. That is the training. Marcus Aurelius was emperor. He attended thousands of social events, and he wrote this in private every single morning. When you wake up, tell yourself, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." He didn't say this to become bitter. He said this to become immune. The Stoics had zero illusions about human nature. They expected difficulty from people. And because they expected it, they were never surprised by it, never derailed by it, never destroyed by it. Radical honesty about human nature is an act of compassion toward yourself. Stop being surprised when people disappoint you. Expect it, and then act from your values anyway. The final dark practice. The one that closes everything. Death meditation. Contemplating your own death. Regularly, deliberately, with complete attention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." At the end of every day, he asked himself, did I live as if this were the last day available to me? Did I waste it on what other people think? Did I fail to be what I know I could be? Death is not the enemy. A wasted life is the enemy. When you know time is finite and feel that in your body every single day, you stop tolerating mediocrity in yourself. Every moment you delay becoming who you need to be is the real loss, not death. Delay. Stoicism was never meant to be comfortable. It was built for adversity, for loss, for the absolute worst that life can offer. And it turns all of it, every obstacle, every darkness, every unexpected devastation, into fuel. These 10 practices are not theories. They are field-tested tools that held together the most powerful minds in the history of civilization. If you want a daily structure that applies these principles, the Shadow Work Journal is in the description. 90 days of structured exercises based on these exact Stoic practices. Subscribe to Lumen Press. Ancient wisdom for people who are ready to become unbreakable.